Linda, I wanted to start with you. Obviously, in the business that you guys are in, we'd like to think every home should be staged, and I think that realistically every home should have some element of staging in it. But what would you say some of your most targeted consumers are? In other words, what's your ideal customer look like from a home standpoint, from a pricing standpoint? What is it that really is kind of the wheelhouse of what Show Homes is looking for?
Well, let me just first kind of go back to so that people realize 90% of people find their homes online today. It is
Right.
how people shop for homes.
Well, it's not just shopping, it's not just how they find their home, it's how they fall in love with their home.
Yes.
Because, and that's, I think, the difference. I talk to people about this all the time when they're talking about, oh, I can put it on realtor.com, oh, I can put it on that website, I can pay somebody a flat, fee and put it on there. It's not putting it on there, it's how it's on there.
It's how it's on there, absolutely. So, and even going further, we're now looking at our phone. So we have a little square that's
Right.
3 inches, and that room is either they're gonna love it or they're gonna click past it and move on. There's too much competition out there. So it is all about presentation, and that's what we bring to the table. We create that wow that buyers respond to.
And it's funny, and obviously, so if you're talking about like a distressed home or a property that's, a $70,000 starter home, those are homes that probably aren't as likely, I
Right.
would think, to be staged.
Right.
As you climb the price charts, it gets more and more prevalent and more needed.
Yes.
Because of the cycle of who you're selling to. The interesting thing about it is, I was speaking to a potential client this week whose home had been on the market, and they'd hired one of the limited service companies, the companies that you pay a fee to, and they put it on MLS. And that requires the owner to write the description, to take the photos, to do all the things that really the marketing represents. So they pay a flat fee to go on the MLS, and the MLS may feed to a few other websites, but they're shut off from a lot of the other websites on the market that they don't go out to. But then the photos look like they took them from an iPhone.
Right.
It looked, they had 6 photos. This is a $750,000 house, 4,000 square feet. They had 6 photos.
Wow.
Somebody's clicking next.
Yes.
I mean, somebody is clicking next. That if you are selling a higher-end home, your presentation online has to be so crisp. You have to maximize every photo. You've got to have a video. You've got to have a well-thought-out description that really embraces the lifestyle of the home. And I read through the description; it was all facts. And nothing drives me more crazy than reading a description about a piece of property, and this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage house. Everybody can see that. That's in the data that's there. Like, you're supposed to sell the lifestyle. That's like prime real estate.
Right.
And it was half filled out, and it was all facts. People don't buy a house on facts. They don't fall in love on facts. They fall in love on emotion, and that's what staging does.
That's what staging does. And the reality is, for that particular seller who threw it out there, if you will, that cost them time and valuable buyers that went on and bought his neighbor's house.
Well, so what happens is they finally get, we sold hundreds of homes last year that were listed with either by themselves or with someone else before us. And most of the time, there were big holes in the marketing. Either the photos were bad, the description was bad, the person they hired didn't pay for syndication to extra websites, there was no staging, it was, there's a hole, there was a hole in lots of them. And it's a perfect scenario of, and I'm not saying that, you can't sell your home yourself. There are people out there that are marketing and sales savvy enough that can pull that off. The majority of the public, though, chooses a realtor because the majority of the public doesn't get that concept of how to do it,
Right.
and how to do it the right way, So yeah, you can go out and list it, but the question is whether or not you're going to sell it. And I think that was the point. We have so much experience doing that and remarketing the home, but you lose that first impression. You lose those first days on market. You're starting over. People can see that it was on the market before. They know that it's been out there a while. It muddies the water a little bit from a negotiation perspective. That's why time on market is so important.
Right.
And that's where you guys come in. You selling it more quickly puts more money in the seller's pocket.
Absolutely. And we say in our business, really, to get the best buyer, the most leads, the fastest sale, you have to win the beauty pageant. Bottom line, you have to, and that's what we help people do.
And I say this market is a combination between beauty pageant and price war.
Absolutely.
You still got to get the price. You got to get the price dialed
Yep.
in right, and it's got to look beautiful. It's got to be priced in that percentage of homes that are selling. So interestingly, those homes that don't sell, so often there's some sort of hole in the marketing, and a lot of times, I'll read descriptions and I'll look at photos, And people also rely on the description too much. So for example, they'll talk about the beautiful pool, but then there's not a picture of the beautiful pool.
Right.
Like that, people, frankly, if they don't see a picture of the pool, they're probably not reading the description. They're looking at it on a phone or a touch, and they're looking through the photos. Oh, no pool. The same example is, a house that has a great big garage, or is an equestrian property, and they mention it in the description, but it's not in the photos. Guess what? Consumer ain't going to see it. They're going to go through to the next page. They're never going to see the photo, and they're going to miss your house.
Right.
There's so many little details like that that make a big difference. Another one is, I see homes fail to sell in South Tampa regularly, and I'll look them up, and the school districts on the MLS are left blank. So Plant High School, for example, is a huge target. I mean,
Sure.
people go to our website at searchmlstampa.com, and they go in and they type in school. They search for schools. Okay, so if the agent or the broker, or if it's the client, if they listed it themselves, leaves that field blank on MLS, your house is not going to be found. A lot of the, I wouldn't say the majority, a lot of the consumers in South Tampa know the boundaries. Some don't, so they use that field. Even though your property may fit within the Plant High School
Right.
district, if that field is blank, the consumer's online searching for you, and they never see you, and your home doesn't sell. Not because it wasn't priced right, not because because of one of those little details that's missed. So, it's something that's really important, and I think staging comes into that because, it's one of those things that really keeps the property top of mind for the consumer too. They remember how nice it was versus stuff laying out and the bed not made. It's always crisp.
Yeah, there's no comparison really, and it is an art and a skill and a science that a professional person has to do, because that's the other thing. There are some people that have fabulous taste and can do it, but for the majority of people, they cannot envision, and they need a professional to help, and it's super cost effective.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at it, and we talked about the market softening. So when we see the marketing cycle that we're in, the market starts to soften a little bit. Those little finite details and staging, making sure to have an agent that gets those details, the right photos, the right description, syndicated to the right websites, and looking the right way. Because there's a lot of brokers that don't pay for syndication to all the websites. So sometimes you think that your house is going everywhere, and quite frankly, it's not. It's not showing up on Craigslist. It's not showing up for sale on Zillow. And a lot of times those are pay-for-play features. Those are extra marketing costs that some brokers do and don't pay for. So those little details, when the market softens and you want to sell your home, little details like that are things that cause the sale not to fall apart. So if we talk about a softening market, it becomes even more crucial now to take those extra steps, to invest the extra money. If you need to sell and get to your next place, to take the extra step, to go with the staging, to go with the agent that's going to get you all the extra exposure that your buddy that you golf with that's got a real estate license may not get you. And we talk about this because I can't tell you how often I speak to consumers that are distressed, distraught, crying even. I had a phone call with a lady last week, literally in tears, because she's had 3 different realtors, attempt to sell her home. And there were all kinds of issues with them each time with the sale. And, I say this because I don't want to have that conversation with you. I'd love to give you the right advice and just have you get it sold and follow that direction. And I don't want to, I hate having that conversation with people that have just been distraught through a bad real estate scenario because they made some wrong decisions or hired the wrong people, and these little steps that a company like mine with 25 people, have, to pay attention to, the details, making sure this is there, making sure that's there, making sure the photos look good, redoing this if this doesn't look right, or, really extra sets of eyes on the listing. And then, of course, throwing in the staging element to make sure that when they do show up, they love it,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And again, you're right. There's sometimes when I walk into a home and think, what, these people have it down. They've watched hours and hours and hours of HGTV. They get it, and but then there are times when that's not the case, and that's the majority of the time. The majority of the time, people don't have the vision. Sometimes people do, but a lot of times they don't. We speaking on that same level, we're speaking to a client that's got a very high-end luxury property that they're thinking about selling, and the interior is really gaudy, very much driven to their likes. Okay, very much represents them. Okay, but the problem is that it's so much so that consumers are going to walk in and be like, oh, they're not going to notice all the features of the house. They're going to notice all the stuff that's in it.
Very buyer specific.
Right. So you shrink your audience big time when you do that. And I think that's something to pay attention to. So if you're out there thinking about selling your home, really think about some of these tips we're giving you.